He tells them, ooh, love, no one's ever gonna hurt you, love. I'm gonna give you all of my love. Nobody matters like you.
Hey guys, Musa here, and today I'm bringing you my Week 11 NFL Power Rankings. Now, without a further ado, let's get started. Now, kicking it off with the Detroit Lions, they are 0-8-1. They just came off a tie game, their first tie of the season, against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now go up against the Cleveland Browns. Now, their losing streak has ended, officially. Just like the Browns back in 2018, when they had a losing record. At least in 2016, it was 1-15. The next year, they went 0-16. So the same thing happened to the Lions, except that they didn't go winless last year. And the fact is, I believe that the Browns will be too tough for the Detroit Lions. I think the Lions will not be able to beat the Browns. The Browns defense will destroy that Lions offense. Jared Goff won't be able to do anything. And that defense of the Lions won't be able to stop Baker Mayfield in that offense. Now let's move on to the New York Jets. And at 2-7, coming off a devastating loss to the Bills, and going up against the Dolphins, who gave an L to the Baltimore Ravens, I think that this is going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be neck and neck. I think the Jets could possibly win this game. Although, am I really going to say that Dolphins defense is going to struggle against that Jets offense? Mike White, if he starts, well, it all depends. It really depends on who's the starter. If Zach Wilson returns, maybe. If Mike White is the quarterback, maybe. Who knows? But as far as I can see, this is going to be a struggle between both teams. But I'm going to think that the Miami Dolphins sneak out the win. Now, on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are also 2-7. And they came off a loss to the Colts and go up against the San Francisco 49ers, who defeated the Los Angeles Rams. Now, it's Jacksonville, so I think that it's neck and neck as well. Just like the Dolphins and the Jets, this is neck and neck. I believe that the 49ers could take the win over the Jags, but the Jags have been on a good stretch of games the past few weeks. And maybe, just maybe, Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence get their third win of the season. But I'm not going to say so until the predictions video comes out tomorrow. Now, on to the Houston Texans at 1-8. They came off a bye and will take on the Titans. Now, I believe that the Houston Texans will most likely lose this game against the Titans. They most likely will. They haven't been doing good on the run game. Tyrod Taylor isn't doing that well. Honestly, his first game was more or less a lucky game for the Texans. I think the Texans are just too bad of a franchise right now. And even if Deshaun Watson was on the team, still, I don't see a win coming for Houston. Now, moving on to the Chicago Bears at 3-6, coming off a bye, taking on the Baltimore Ravens. It's most likely going to be a Ravens win. They're going to come back from that loss to Miami. But honestly, the Bears are one of those teams that have an offense that could be better than they are. Honestly, the Bears are a bad team. Don't get me wrong. But this offense is something to look forward to in 2022 and beyond. But don't give up, because maybe, just maybe, Justin Fields and that offense can get the Bears a win over the Ravens. Now, on to the New York Giants at 3-6, coming off a bye. And yeah, the New York Giants will take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, the Bucs have been doing pretty terrible without Antonio Brown. Is there a problem with the Bucs? Is it Antonio Brown that gives them the edge over teams? I don't think so. I think that Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, also Cameron Brate, OJ Howard, and honestly, Rob Gronkowski are good enough to give the Bucs wins. I'm just thinking that they have had tough games where the defense has failed and the offense has been struggling. But against the Giants, I don't see that happening. I see they win over the Giants at home. Because honestly, even though the Giants are a terrible team, they might do something like other teams such as the Saints getting a win over them. And honestly, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Now, on to the Miami Dolphins at 3-7. Came off a win over the Baltimore Ravens and take on the Jets. So just like I said, this is a neck and neck game, which I'm leaning more for Miami, as honestly, even depending on who's the starter in New York at quarterback, that will probably change my opinion on the game. But is honestly, because they started with their backup quarterback, Brissett. He started the game, and then he got injured. Tua came in, did an excellent job as they beat the Ravens 22-10. Honestly, that is a good score line for the Miami Dolphins against the Ravens. But against the Jets, it's going to be much easier, but they're still going to struggle. Now, moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals. They came off a bye and now are going up against the Raiders. And honestly, the Raiders have not been doing that well these past few weeks. They might take an L to Cincinnati here. So, realistically, this is which defense is going to be the best. That is what's going to win the game. Because honestly, these two offenses are good enough to win this game. But it all depends on which defense comes up clutch. Now, on to the Atlanta Falcons. And the Falcons at 4-5 just took an L to the Dallas Cowboys. Are going up against the Patriots, who destroyed the Browns. Now, I'm believing in Mac Jones. I believe Mac Jones is the best rookie quarterback in 2021. There's no doubt about that. Like, majority of the other quarterbacks, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, even Trevor Lawrence, who went first overall, have not been doing as well as Mac. And honestly, the Patriots have managed to do something this year that they couldn't last year. And honestly, the Falcons just keep choking. And without Calvin Ridley, they're going to be toast against the Patriots. Now on to the Seattle Seahawks. I'm not even going to say my Seattle Seahawks anymore, because they have been disappointing. 3-6, lost to the Packers. The first shutout that Seattle's ever had with Russell Wilson at quarterback. Now this is devastating. And when we face off against the Cardinals, if we play like we did against the Packers, yeah, expect a devastating L from the Arizona Cardinals. And they most likely will win the division, because I don't have any hope in Seattle winning this division. Maybe they get into the playoffs as one of the 6th, 7th, or even 5th seed, but they're never going to get that division title. Because of the way they're playing, I don't believe in them getting that title. But I do believe in them getting into the playoffs. So, for right now, I see Seattle as a team that is trying to get in, but is failing heavily. Now, on to the Cleveland Browns at 5-5. Devastating loss to the Patriots. Honestly, their game against the Lions will be a win. I don't expect Cleveland to lose to the Lions. Honestly, it was a shock that the Lions were able to tie with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But against the Browns, I don't expect them to win. Although, honestly, the Browns could be the old Browns we used to know. So, who knows? Maybe they choke this game away at the final minutes. But knowing the Detroit Lions, they'll be the ones doing the choking. Although, you can't really say. Football can go either ways. But I'm leaning more for Cleveland than Detroit for this week. Now, on to the Denver Broncos. And at 5-5, just took an L from Philadelphia. They will be on a bye. Now, Denver has not been doing that well at all. Yeah, even though they went 3-0 for the first 3 games of the season, they have been facing easy opponents to win. And honestly, this was an easy opponent for the Denver Broncos. And they lost. Honestly, well deserved for the Eagles to beat the Denver Broncos. Honestly. But realistically, is it the team of the Denver Broncos, or is the Eagles just better? I believe it's the Broncos. They're just not better than the Eagles defensively. Like, defensively, I think that Jalen Hurts and that offense just did very well against that Denver defense. And honestly, the Eagles defense managed to stop that Denver offense from scoring too many points. Now, on to the Las Vegas Raiders at 5-4. Took a heavy loss to the Kansas City Chiefs last week on Sunday Night Football, and will take on the Bengals. Now, honestly, the Raiders, I'm saying that the Raiders are going to most likely lose this game. Cincinnati's going to come ready. They're going to start playing some football. Honestly, it could go either ways, but it's more leaning on Cincinnati. Honestly, if Derek Carr in that offense doesn't score points and their defense allows as many points as they did against Kansas City, this game would be over. Now, on to the Washington football team. 3-6. Their win against the Bucks. They won against the Bucks. Really? Really, Tampa Bay. You lost to the Washington football team. They take on the Panthers, and I believe that this will most likely be a win for the Washington football team if Cam Newton isn't the quarterback that he was against the Arizona Cardinals. Because that could have been a fluke. Like, we saw him when he was in New England. We saw him in his later years in Carolina in the first stint. Is he going to be the same guy? Maybe. But if Taylor Heineke and that offense are able to do what they did against the Bucks to these guys, yeah, there's no way that the Carolina Panthers will be winning if they can't stop the Washington football team's offense. Now, on to the Indianapolis Colts at 5-5. Took a win from the Jags and now take on the Bills in Buffalo. Now, honestly, I'm going to say this. Buffalo has not been doing too good lately. But it is the Colts, and I'm expecting the Bills to win this game. Josh Allen will be playing good once again. And honestly, the Bills, after taking a win over the Jets, it's the Jets. So we understand that. But if they can take down Carson Wentz and the Colts, I'm going to say this. The Buffalo Bills are back. Now, on to the Philadelphia Eagles at 4-6. Took down the Broncos and take on the Saints. Now, the Eagles, will they beat the New Orleans Saints, led by Trevor Siemian? Maybe, because they just took an L to the Falcons. And honestly, that should have been a win. And realistically, I think the Saints, after taking a loss to the Titans, they will most likely regress. But is it going to be a regression against the Eagles? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm thinking that it's there. It's the time for the Eagles to start winning once again. And I believe that this will be one of the catalysts to get them on track to get that 7th seed. Now, on to the San Francisco 49ers at 4-5. They took down the LA Rams on Monday Night Football. And then we got the Jags. They got the Jags. So this is going to be a close matchup, most likely. Maybe Jacksonville gets the 3rd win. Maybe San Francisco continues their winning streak. And honestly, I'm thinking this. Is San Francisco good? Nah, I don't really think so. But I still think that they could make the playoffs just as much as the Seahawks. But if they don't, well, they'll most likely have a mid-round pick. A mid-pick in the first round and all that. Because honestly, when it comes to their draft selection, they'll be good enough to not make the playoffs, but have a relatively middle of the pack pick in the draft. And honestly, same goes for Seattle. Now, on to the Carolina Panthers. And the Panthers are at 5-5. They took a win from the Cardinals. They go up against the Washington football team. Is Cam Newton back? Is he back to his winning ways? Is he going to be an MVP? Maybe. Not the MVP part, but maybe he'll be a good quarterback and good enough to lead the Panthers back to the playoffs like he used to do. And honestly, Matt Rule, if you're going to give up on the Sam Darnold, then Darnold will be most likely a backup for the rest of his career because this was his last opportunity to show that he was a starting caliber quarterback. And if Cam Newton, the guy that Carolina got rid of, and then brought back 2 years later so that they could have a starting quarterback, is the starter, then that means there's no more room for Sam Darnold in Carolina. Now, on to the New Orleans Saints at 5-4. Took down the Titans? No, they didn't, because they took an L from the Titans. And honestly, it's a very close game, by the way. They take on the Eagles. Now, this is going to be 50-50. Without Jameis Winston, this team is lost. with Taysom Hill, maybe they can squeeze out a playoff appearance again. But Trevor Siemian isn't the guy. But still, this could be an easy game for either of the teams. Although, it will most likely be which offense can make the final play for their squad. Now, on to the New England Patriots at 6-4. Took a win from the Browns. And now will take on the Falcons in Atlanta. I think that this will most likely be a win for the Patriots. Although, it could turn out that Mac Jones becomes the worst rookie quarterback in 2021, which I don't think will happen. I think he's been honestly consistent and honestly been the best. Maybe you can say Justin Fields be second best. I don't know. But the point is, I believe that Mac Jones is the future of the Patriots, 100%. But they're going to have to build a new team around him because the former team that the Patriots had, and the reason why they failed with Cam was because they had a team built around Tom. Now Tom's not there. You gotta build around the new guy. And honestly, that's what the Patriots need to do and will most likely do in this offseason. Now on to the Minnesota Vikings at 4-5. And they just took a win, a close win to the Los Angeles Chargers. And they will take on the Packers. If the Vikings beat the Packers, then I don't know anymore. Because honestly, I don't expect them to win. I don't expect them to win. They couldn't be better than the Seahawks against the Packers. Maybe they'll score a point. Maybe. That's just a maybe. But if they don't get shut out by Green Bay, then something went very good for the Minnesota Vikings. And heavily wrong for the Seattle Seahawks. Because honestly, you can blame Russell Wilson's injury all you want, but that's not it. That's not it, because the team wasn't there. It's simple as that. And the Vikings will have a shot at giving Green Bay a loss, but don't expect it to happen. Now, on to the Los Angeles Chargers at 5-4. They just took an L from the Vikings and take on the Steelers, who just tied with the Lions. The winless Lions. Now, this is most likely a win for the Chargers. I think that the LA Chargers can come in and take a home win against the Steelers, as they're going to be playing at SoFi Stadium. But this is the thing. Is the Steelers going to do bad like they did against the Lions? I don't think so. But I still think that the Chargers will be better than the Steelers and take the win over them. Now we move on to the Baltimore Ravens, who took an L on Thursday Night Football to the Dolphins, and now will face up against the Bears. Now, if Lamar Jackson can't get the win over the Bears and Justin Fields manages to do something and honestly give the Bears hope, yeah, for this season ain't gonna be no hope for the playoffs. But think for the future. Think for the future of Justin Fields in Chicago. Because Baltimore, they already know their future is playoff appearances. And even this year. But is the 6-3 Baltimore Ravens gonna take down the Chicago Bears? I think so. But anything could happen. And until I put out my predictions videos tomorrow, you won't know what I'll predict. Because I could change my mind by tomorrow. Now on to the Pittsburgh Steelers at 5-3-1. Took a tie with the Lions. And now they're going up against the Chargers at SoFi Stadium. Now, we all know the Chargers don't have that many fans in Los Angeles. But that's not really going to matter to the Chargers. Because honestly, they have been winning some very tough games. And honestly, some of the games have been weird that they've been losing. But against the Steelers, I think they have a ginormous chance on winning against the Steelers. Although, it is a slim one. But to be honest, the Steelers, if they mess it up, like they do usually, this will most likely be a Los Angeles victory. Now, on to the Dallas Cowboys at 7-2. Destroyed the Falcons and will take on the Chiefs. Honestly, the Chiefs haven't been doing that bad, especially since they beat the Raiders. But the Cowboys. How are they going to do against the Chiefs offense? Now, that is the question. Josh Gordon has been doing that well there, but honestly, he's not the only guy. Travis Kelce, incredible tight end, and has been doing a lot for Patrick Mahomes. And that defense, if they can at least take down Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper, that's all they need to do. That's all they need to do to take the win. Stop that offense and score on that defense heavily. Because even though you stop that offense, you're not going to stop them forever. I believe that the Cowboys will at least score maybe in the 10s or 20s. But if the Chiefs manage to score in the 30s or 40s, I think that they can definitely take the win over the Cowboys. Now on to the Green Bay Packers at 8-2. They're going up against the Vikings after taking down my Seattle Seahawks. Honestly, Green Bay, they are going to take down Minnesota. And if they don't, then something went really, really wrong for the Pack. As Aaron Rodgers should be able to take down that defense. And honestly, that defense of the Packers, if they do the same as they did against Seattle, they'll be able to take down Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, and the rest of that offense easily. Now, on to the Los Angeles Rams at 7-3. Took an L on Monday Night Football to the 49ers. And will have a bye this week. Now, honestly, them and Denver are going to have to think of this week. Because honestly, Denver will be on a bye just as well. But depending on what team you are, you should be able to win in week 12, the Los Angeles Rams. But honestly, they're now comparing Matthew Stafford to Jared Goff. Honestly, that's not something you want in Los Angeles after you traded 3 first-round picks for Matthew Stafford. And honestly, I think that this is really just going to be a fluke. Because honestly, I believe that the LA Rams will be back in the winning column pretty soon. Now, coming in at number 5, we got the Buffalo Bills at 6-3. Took a win against the Jets and takes on the Colts. Honestly, if the Bills lose to the Colts, then this is over for the Bills. They're pretenders now. They might win that division. But honestly, could the AFC North, the AFC West, and the AFC South be on top compared to these guys? I think it's a possibility. Honestly, they all, minus the Chiefs, have a better record than basically the Bills. Honestly, you got the Chiefs at 6-4. You got I believe it's the Browns or the Ravens at 6-3. Yeah, the Ravens at 6-3. And you got the Titans at 8-2. Now maybe you get that third seed, if depending on Baltimore. But still, it all depends on really what are you going to do against Carson Wentz and that defense. Because honestly, Carson Wentz on that offense of the Colts is going to play to win. And that's what the mentality of the Bills should be if they want to win. Now, on to number 4. We got the Kansas City Chiefs at 6-4. Just took a win from the Las Vegas Raiders and are now on top of their division. And now when we come up against the Cowboys, I believe that the Chiefs 100% will win this. But it all depends on if they can stop Dak Prescott and that offense. If they cannot, well, say sayonara to that win because Dallas is going to take the win. Now at number 3, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 6-3. Took an L from the Washington football team and will take on the Giants. Honestly, they should win. They should win. This is a home game against the Giants. So they should be able to win. But honestly, knowing how the Bucs have been playing recently, who knows? Maybe the Giants could upset the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday when they go to Tampa. Now, coming in at number 2, we got the Arizona Cardinals at 8-2. And they just came off a loss to Carolina and Cam Newton. Cam Newton honestly been doing excellent for the Carolina Panthers in his first game back since I believe 2019, 2019. He was a Patriot, I believe. Maybe, I don't remember. But I believe it was 2018 or 2019 where he actually played the last time with Carolina. I believe it was 2019. But regardless of that, I believe that Tampa Bay, Arizona, and honestly these teams should be able to beat teams like Seattle. And honestly, I hope Seattle can beat the Arizona Cardinals, but I really have no hope when it comes to a team this good. Now, ending it off with the Tennessee Titans at 8-2, the number 1 team in the NFL in my power rankings. They took a win from the Saints and will take a win for the Texans. And if they dare lose to the Houston Texans, who, as a matter of fact, are 1-8, then the Tennessee Titans should honestly fold their franchise. Because how could you lose to the Texans? That's how bad the Texans are. They shouldn't even be close to winning against the Tennessee Titans. I know they don't got Derrick Henry anymore, but that doesn't change anything. They should be able to win heavily against the Houston Texans. Now, that was it for this video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Tweet me any video ideas. Also, tell me down in the comments below, who do you think should be higher and who should be lower on my power rankings list? Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Now, like this video if you liked it, subscribe and hit the notification if you want more videos, and I'll see you guys next time.